and he's going to record Hu Tao's latest legendary build. And there's a mod in the community called Isaacs that he is a huge fan of Hu Tao, and the entire channel, the closest community on all the streams of AO. The direct's linked down here in the description, you know, and every time Hu Tao is mentioned, they remember of this mod called Isaacs, who casually helps me with the free-to-play account. And in the free-to-play, I have Hu Tao, because it turns out that when I start recording the video and saying the very good gamers how we are these games and chill, and today we are in the Hu Tao build, has thrown me out of the account as if it had a sixth sense, a paranormal radar of phantasmites and tablet C. Legendary to give me your blessing for Hu Tao's legendary build with this story so. And besides, we laughed because I wrote to him and I told him, but we're going to see today, we're going to see the last legendary building of Hu Tao. I don't think I act Alice anymore because Hu Tao in quotation marks is updates and always works with everything new, you know. He serves Hu Tao but concretely. After the arrival of Shilonen, that can work very well with Hu Tao, I think. Until do not leave a Croy or applicator support outside the field so that Hu Tao melts all his hits and will be coming next to Fiorina or Yellen. Is not going to be any more changes in the character, so enjoy today of the latest legendary building of Hu Tao. As I always tell you to leave a good like a good, ulti of minute, subscribe, leave a good comment for algorithm. And this time remember that not only that, it will cost you nothing and it will be totally free, but there is a blessing draw for every day. When I upload 2 videos a day is a bendy draw, because a day and not for every video for all those who you subscribe with bell. That is obligatory and important to be able to participate and leave a good comment for algorithm. I already help you how much life you have right now in your ring. Today we are going to see all the importance of Hu Tao, the capios of maximum life. There are times that according to the weapons or plenty of life and take life if the attack serves the best teams the best. Arms everything that has to do with or doesn't have to do with the Homa, whether or not the cone is today. And it turns out that it always was, and I think that 90% is very much needed for Hu Tao, but specifically in his best current team with Kayanyun, for whoever has Xianyun is not cone, and this is very paradoxical. And all the other secrets of the tablet, so it goes as I say. Let's see the legendary build, the latest legendary build of Hu Tao as well. First is that the 3 talents contribute in equality, and this is very important to remember because I see people going up the elementary people without climbing the ulti. The talents contribute in equality, and the most important is the talent of the normal attack, which is loading and descending scaling. If you play only loaded, well, of the load, that is Hu Tao's biggest scale right now, so don't ever forget to prioritize. And the first crown in Hu Tao has to be in the loaded, but like other characters in a Shin Impact, Hu Tao takes great advantage of her talents, and it is highly recommended to triple crown her and bring them up to par, all you can, including the ulti, that not only cures you, not only is a nuke, no, only helps to finish the rooms, but is a total damage by rotation that can reach 300, 400, 1000 with correct equipment, and helps a lot, and is counted on the damage such by rotation that it can make Hu Tao now the normal attack. Just know that it is his loaded now. After explain the talents, I'm going to spend a moment doing and explaining the 2 main combos. Well, 3 today if you don't have the cone, but basically it's elemental, as you all know. It has 16 seconds of cooldown, 9 seconds of imbuing, and it's going to put you pyro, and it's going to reduce 30% of your B life like Kuki Shinobu 2, and will give you an increase in attack in proportion to your maximum life. This calculation that is here, the written parameters are so easy from the elemental that can be calculated with the base attack that you have in your weapon. What is the maximum life percentage that you're going to be able to total good better? Said that you're going to be able to acquire so that you don't spare life, but it's basically very easy because the 454 base attack of Dragon and Spear prediction, the Battle Pass duel that many will carry Hu Tao, the dual spear basically is a cap of DZO 34,000 of life that you must not exceed completely, including the hydro consonants. But if you already play 5-star weapons such as Joma as Jade and some other options have Hu Tao in those cases, those weapons specifically already give you a lot more than 40,000 capio. One gives you 44,000 damage, and the other one gives you 47,000 with what you really once have 5-star guns. You have to worry about capping critical ratio recharge mastery and at least get in field without those 40,000. That is not easy and not everyone can, but above all remember that weapons of attack. Base's prediction of the Dragon or Battle Pass launch of the Duel 454 base attack the, and when you have more life than that, you don't use it and don't turn it into an attack with air, which does not serve you, is useless. That is the elementary, and it is very important to explain now. The ulti has cost of 60 is a medium low cost for a 5 stars, generates enough particles in field. Ooh, TAO, which needs relatively low energy recharge. Now we're talking about her as in all the buildings if you like it very much, always that, and also has cooldown of 15. The elementary has 16 is around here, with which the total rotation of the TAO team is 16, but when you play TAO with Xingqiu, who without having 21 cooldown in the kick delay and lengthen the rotation, TAO is why the best team today gets closer to what I'm seeing on screen, because the Ines and Anjun have 18, i.e. 3 seconds less than Xingqiu, and the rotation of TAO becomes in rotation of 18, not 16 of 18. Now the ulti, as I said, you paste in nucleus area, do much damage. You cure yourself with all the enemies you have to try to time to throw away the ulti before you. The intuition of the elemental, that is 9 seconds, with which if you are 16 and subtract the yell, 9 seconds basically remains that you have a cooldown of 7, with which when you throw the elemental ones, you see us playing TAO and we're glued pasting, and we're then the cooldown is out there trying to throw the ulti before the counter dials 7. Just when I said it. Down to the right, the editors will have put it a zoom and an arrow, so you see how it is done. Is the initial combo for you to throw the ulti into the elemental, because the elemental when activating it is giving the bonus additional attack in proportion to your life to do more damage with the ulti. Ulti must always pull before I dial 7 seconds, that counter down to the right, that it's the cooldown counter of your elementary ability. There's always another combo that's done a lot in Abyss, that is throwing elemental ulti directly, and already with that elemental ulti you let yourself hit a little by the enemies, or you're losing life with Furina and you get back less than half of the crowd, because one of TAO's talents when you go down for half your life earns 33% pyro damage, and it's a lot of damage, and you always try to have less than half your life for that TAO. It also combines with Furina currently, and then the first talent of Ascension is very simple. The talents of the beginning, the game that we no longer have, that says when you finish the skill, elemental and broken to the rest of the team, the whole team wins 12 of probability for 8 seconds. Is the time it takes the rest of the team to pull back elementals and ultis to return to getting in with TAO. This makes the rest of the team out of the field do a lot more damage because it does more critical. Now this is the whole TAO combo, which are the 3 rotations that you will see in E screen. Then basically number 1, when you play with yourself in Jung, regardless of the Koni, you basically throw out the whole team combo, and TAO has to obviously do elementary 2 normals, charged high descending, 2 normal charged high, descending 2 normal charged high, down. Try to repeat it between about 6 and 7 times, and before the cooldown of the elemental get to 7, throw the ulti. That's the independent perfect combo, is to say, it doesn't have nothing to do with the cone, and that currently gives maximum damage by rotation of TAO in teams. TAO Furina Yelan Shen, and you can play instead of Yelan Xingqiu, but delay the rotation to 21 instead of 18. That Yelan has the best current team of TAO is that of Shanyang that you are. Rotations when you have the cone and when you don't have the cone. When you have the cone, that this is very interesting. And for example, you play the second best TAO team, that would be what you are watching on screen, but instead of Shanyang, we put Xilonen. The combo is so simple. How to make 2 normal goes, 2 normal loaded, i.e. 1-2 hits, 1-2 hits, dash, 1-2 hits, dash, 1-2 hits, 1-2 hits, 1-2 hits, 1-2 hits, 1-2 hits. You see, that can be done almost as supposed to. Technically, if you make it perfect, it's calculated that you can put 11 loads. That is crazy. And even before the counter of your elementary skill on the lower right, put 7 pulls the ult in. This is the combo of his second best team, that is with Xilonen. And here you know that many people then play the same, but with Xilonen's Zhonglianve, or teams with Fischl to make super, Vaporized or Kazuta, or very large combination of equipment. That TAO is the character who more teams can come to have level of versatility and combination of characters vaporizing their cargoes, and the last combo is on any equipment, where Shanyong is not. Example this same, that when you don't have the cone, basically your combo where the cone is not is. Similar, but instead of dash here to interrupt, you have to jump the trick of jumping to dash here. To interrupt correctly and not waste time is to release the address button so that instead to jump in one direction and place you in front of the enemies so that you are misplaced. And you get hit or you're away from them by dropping the button, you jump into the place and you don't waste time and I do the demonstration without dash hearing 1 2 dash jump, 1 2 dash jump, 1 2 dash jump, 1 2 dash jump, 1 2 dash jump. Sometimes without stamping according to whether you give in any and others, but you can get to do between about 6 and 9. But you can also make a very good combo with a very good damage, remembering 1 2 jump. 1 2 we jump, 1 2 we jump, 1 2 we jump, 1 2 we jump. This is the right Hu Tao combo that you are seeing right now, can be practiced with both command and keyboard and mouse too. Principle is going to frustrate, but it is the right combo when there is no code. Now we already have the as if you don't have the cone because it's so important. The cone basically eliminates you the cost of holding your load, i.e. your load does not consume stamina with which you can afford. Thus here between loaded and a TAO time, and then the real normal attack is infinitely shorter than giving that weird jump that you see with what allows you to go 7 charge to 11 charge when you play Asian Young. No need, because if you do a load but then when you make a downward jump you already interrupt the animation, and that time you're regenerating the cost of endurance with which when you play the team is Asian Young. The cone equals exactly the C2. It's hardly important anyone plays Hu Tao C2, and you always talk about Hu Tao's cone. The C2 basically makes the bloody petals that you leave when you make enemies a loaded, that is to say that flower that appears enemies when you make a loaded scale with 10% of your maximum life, with which does quite more damage, especially when you get out of the field and you say banging that petal bloody, and in addition, the ulti blow makes the enemies also get applied. The bloody petal that is like a kind of dot that many people do not know that Hu Tao leaves. A dot, an extra pyro hit on the enemies, and this is to convince the balance enough pyro application so that it is not so easy with some equipment. Melt it, remembering that, yes, we melted with the pyro, the damage is by 2. If we melt over hydro with the pyro, the damage is. That's why you play vaporized, and for now it's complicated outside of gaming and dialogue in it. That's why I was saying at the beginning of the build that a sub DPS comes out. Cryo applicator out of the field, very strong, that does not exist today. A cryo Xingqiu for me. Dai's Hu Tao might melt, but these bloody petals are like a balance and a nerf. Besides, even though people don't see it that way, the C2 buffers and throwing the last one is a bloody petal. All enemies, but it's not important and it's no more madness of harm. This is the elemental plus 3. The C3, the elemental plus 3, is actually a little crazy because the more you climb, the elemental minus Capio life you have, is to say who gets the elemental plus 3 should even look in quotation marks less life when it goes with low base attack weapons, but when it goes with high base attack weapons like the TAO, Oma, or as the Jaded having a 44 or 47,000 lifetime cape, having the C3 lowers it to 41 with the Oma, and some I think were 44.5, 45 with Jade. With Jade you'll never get to 45,000 life, but with the capable Homa and the C3, if you reach 41,000 tapping, means that from there you do not. It's going to transform elementary ability into more attack. But as you'll have it at level 13, that is, plus 3, you'll turn that life into more attack, with what you're going to get a lot more attack on Hu Tao. Which is crazy. Basically then, the C4 gives you another 12% probability the whole team is sane. The talent here doubles it, and instead of 12 probabilities would be 24 odds the whole team minus Hu Tao. This is the last 3 to make a larger core with the ulti, but for 5,600,000 today, these numbers are very normal gaming, 600,000 each. Down, and this is Hu Tao's famous chicks that doesn't do any good, gives you 100% chance without what you have to play it, because at 0% probability gives you elemental resistance and something more extra. But it only activates when they're going to kill you. That's when you're going to stay a point of life. You have to start the Room of the Abyss, throw the elemental, and stand still waiting for you. Leave to a point of life so that the Abyss will be activated. Now I reset you to the passive, i.e. now. TAO. This I can use once for every Room of the Abyss before I had to wait for the CD real. You have this, and you have to do time between room and room to use it again or so, let's say. That could be used once for every Abyss, but today can be used by room is the cheeks more. Unnecessary and useless history does not serve anything that easy TAO sets popularly is played with 3 sets, but in my opinion, and I explained it in several videos and today I return to stress it and explain it again. I will not recommend the Remy first because it is not the maximum damage by rotation. None of the cases would be their third best second set because you subtract an absurd amount of versatility by the 15 energy you lose to be able to pull elemental ulti directly and to go with St. Peter to bury your own TAO B, finish a room in the abyss so that the seconds you know they are very important because you don't lose any more and finish it for the next floor. See, the Remy does not combine at all well, neither with the teams of Sion down with which in last position if you have no choice, if you have a lost set, and you don't want to spend more resin if you have no other solution. That I do not believe the Remy is the third best set of TAO. TAO's second best set is the Witch and gives us a higher coefficient of damage. Energy that is much more important, and of course we will vaporize all the hits plus the ulti with AO, which is the one that the most total damage by rotation can give us, even though TAO does not active up to 3 charges of the Witch. In fact, only activates one you really know that the Witch can. Activate it 3 times with 3 elementals, which is actually what Diluc does or what he does. You know he's got 2 loads, but you can throw 3 and count 3 even if you don't do the damage of the third, but TAO is your second best set today, and your Sao's best set with greater rotational damage of the whole game is the Golden Dreams for the extra mastery that gives us, since all the rest of substat we can get in the artifacts. And that extra master's degree would otherwise be very complicated to get it on you. TAO, the full set of Golden Dreams can give us more than 200 and in some situation up to 300 master's degree. In TAO, which can potentiate all its damage that are vaporized, may not even seek so much mastery in substat and focus only the important probability critical damage critical. Recharge to throw the ulti and life, just look for percentage life now that you are looking at TAO. Well then, mainly with most weapons of the game you are going to look for clock of life. But for those who ask when you play mastery, that I have seen TAO mastery do a lot of damage, because very easy has to do with the capital of life that I have told you before. If, for example, in this particular case, I with this weapon, which is the dragon's prediction, would reach the same 34,000 of life without having a life clock, but having a master's watch, because I have a lot of life in Zubstead, then would be worth putting in a master's watch, but mainly on almost all fair cases when you carry a Homa, a J.D. Allegia Lumidos, that is Emily's weapon, that neither bad TAO in some specific case. When you carry a 5-star weapon that for base attack let you get to an unhealthy amount of life where you'll never get to weather that life in it. Proportion to the ascent talent of the elementary one who explained to you a moment ago. That are here in fact the numbers for you to follow the calculation, basically no need. Master's Watch with 5-star weapons means the Master's Watch always simply. For low base weapons that would be the dual, the lance of the dual weapon, the battle pass or the edition, taking into account that the prediction already gives you mastery, and you will put yourself almost in 400 or 500 of mastery and wouldn't be so important with prediction. So with TAO, unlike Xiangling, do not stress you, and in almost all cases, not to say more than 90%, you have to take it. Watch life and you're quiet, then the calculation will always be pyros, and the helmet can be from critical probability or critical damage of both. Because TAO ascends with critical damage to raise a level with what won't go wrong in some cases, wearing a probability helmet for. To reach 70 of probability now, we are talking about the caps of proportion and everything else, and they'll substead that you have to search for probability critical year, critical life percentage it. Forgotten from the flat life that whenever you say in a character that suits you the attack, many people believe that the state of flat attack is going to serve him and does not serve him, and the same with the same percentage life. Remember that a single percentage life equals 3 dupes in a flat state of life. That is to say, flat life is useless. You have to look for percentage life. The same applies to defense. Finally, recharges the good that TAO, both for the energy it generates, and because it is usually played with characters considered batteries as for the cost of 60. The energy of Hu Tao in all cases, round between 115 and 120 as maximum on all teams, so you know the energy. Let's say it's closed here now before the substats that rely heavily on weapons we're going to. Talk about weapons, Hu Tao's weapons. Basically, let's summarize them into two categories as always and dividing free to place and 5 stars. I have mentioned several times in the video the lance of the duel because many of you carry that weapon in Hu Tao. The reality is that the Dragon's Doom 2, starting from R3, R4, is going to give 1,000 laps to the Spear of the Duel, the pass of battle, even though with R extra probability, and you see a larger critical ratio, and therefore think that that is more damage or more beautiful character at the time of construction, and the reality is that in all the cases, taking into account that this spear comes out on any banner at any time, and that you can play Roan R2 and then refine it gradually when it is maximized to see if it is the passive white battle that costs $10. I will recommend in all cases the Doom of the Dragon R5. In all cases, do not worry about taking Hu Tao with other weapons 4 stars. If not, you have no 5 stars. Hu Tao Dragon loss is more among the weapon to count Jade. Of the permanent 5 stars and the Dragon's own Doom, the Doom R5 is better than the ally. Count Jade 5 stars, that's why my Hu Tao in this free-to-play account doesn't take the Earl Jade buy. That discount Jade is here, and as you see on screen, no one is using it. I am playing Hu Tao with Perdition because it gets more damage than with Jade, and also the last advantage of. Recommend to you the Jade. Now I speak of the 5 stars forgiveness for the Dragon's Perdition. Now I'm arming the 5-star gun. Thing is that by playing the Dragon's Doom you can now make a small approximate perch in case tomorrow you are planning to take out the Joma me. If you carry the Jade or carry the Spear of the Battle Pass duel and give you chance win. Have a Joma, you're gonna lose 22 of probability, win 66 critical damage, you're gonna squad Hu Tao. Totally, and you have to put a helmet. If for example with Jade is a critical damage helmet with a Joma is better, a helmet of probability with the weapon the Spear of the Duel of the Pass the same. Though if you go the Dragon's Doom, that gives you mastery harm inflicted simply by calculating already with it. I could have more, and then the 240-45, that would be the critical damage of 66. That is the critical damage that the Joma is giving you, and stay in about 185, 190, that is to say, I have too much critical damage, as you can see. You are going to get that day. Tomorrow, by going from Dragon's Perdition to directly putting a Joma of yours to Hu Tao. That of perfect between quotation marks, that is to say, arranges you and makes it very easy for you to do a project or a purchita, which is called the Genshin community of a Hu Tao Joma tomorrow, if you intend to take out the Baitigum Taiti. Joma. Now next category of weapons that would be 5 stars up if you have the Jade with refinements Roan R2 because it came out a lot in the permanent, because there you can put the Jade in Time of Perdition, and if I would improve it, but if it is only Roan, as is my case for example, the Dragon Perdition better than weapons above Perdition. Mainly we have 3 today, who are the elegy of my Lumidos, but it would be for very rare teams. Cracking with double Hydro and a soft applying inside to be able to, if any burns, jump and make Hu Tao do more damage, but I don't recommend. It is very rare, and if you don't play a team with some weird double Predator Hydra, then would directly recommend that I choose it. Lumi Duels, you put it at the height of the Jade Falcon, i.e. below the Dragon's Perdition. Those who carry Elegia from my light, and you are watching this video right now, saying there is my god. Not to rebuild because yes friends, and the only good thing is that I read it from to 33 of probability, and a helmet from to 31 with which you change the helmet, and that's it. But yes, friends, the better Doom, and now the Shovel of Sin and the Joma. Well, the Shovel of Fate is of course the best combination with Dreams. By turning Mastery into Attack, gives you 44 probability and transforms that Mastery. In attack is not bad, and it is according to the construction you have, and if with the Shovel manages to escape the scape ratio, that is to have 70-75 probability, 240-250 year, critical with 120 of recharging of energy. The Shovel, as it has less base attack, has 542 at least to get some. I think is 38-39 of life. Total 38-39 CAS. Then investing everything you over Mastery and taking out about 300. Master's Degree that helps you set the Shovel is quite decent and is better than Doom. of the dragon, but being situational and already forcing you directly to play the set of dreams. Knowing the shovel with which is so close to the dragon's doom that it doesn't have to be broken. Your head and you'll say, Phil, why all the weapons so close to the dragon's doom? Because no one is keeping in mind that doom gives you 36% harm inflicted. That is better than the probability and better than the damage, because the damage inflicted does not depend on a multiplier. Random damage inflicted is like a critical, but constant year multiplier is better than the critical damage, so this weapon is broken and is also recommended in Xianglin and is recommended also in other characters for mastery, as well as the triple mastery of Crackling Ore, Upalum Denrande Nozoma, with this weapon for the subject of elementary mastery to reach more. That's why you don't have to worry. But the Spade of Sin in concrete situation with the concrete set with the concrete stats if you improves the prediction of the dragon. But it is very situational. And finally home, I know that. Every pitch that comes out in the game, people ask the chirp and ajuta. But the reality is that practically if you don't have Homia or you don't have the Spade of but in too many conditions. Specifics that not all accounts should have to simply worry about carrying. Prediction or whoever takes out the Homea tomorrow, the Homea you have seen how easy it is synthesized. Hu Tao's weapons are summarized without turning around, without complicating, and without dizzying the player's prediction. Of the dragon or Homea there is no more the shovel of situational. But if you have it and you have dreams, Sabrios, take to heaven because you'll see spectacular damage. But it's hard to balance now the stats here. The important thing is that if you have 5-star weapons that are not the Jade that you... The probability or damage, that is to say mainly the Homea or the shovel of, if you have to prioritize. Number 1 between 15 and 20 of recharge as I explained before then, 70-75 of probability, and you have to try. To reach the 240 critical years, that is what is considered Capio of proportion. Now this Capio of proportion, if you carry Homea, you know that the set of Sabria's dreams with Homea will give 80 bases of mastery, and then in field you will activate 150 more, with which at rest with home, at least with home. You know, you have to see at least 100 dreams here, and when you go with a witch, get a little bit more, at least 150, and finally when you go with Homea, at least to get a Ayutado very top, over 35,000 life, the best Hutao that we have been able to see in the community where Capiedo, the proportion was Capiedo, the retard Capiedo the mastery and arrived until 40,000 of life in this case is not so much needed. You can and will give you more harm, but at least so that your cut with Homea will be top 70, 235, 115, 100 masters and at least 35,000 of life. That it's a Jujuado that's going to destroy abysses, and if you want to take it to heaven more mastery, and you put yourself in 40,000 life, and on the other hand the dragon's prediction, Hu Tao, the previous are the ones of Homea or the ones of the shovel, but the ones of prediction of the dragon, as it gives you much mastery, but it doesn't give you any chance or damage. You have to try with dragon prediction at least. To reach 70 of probability to me is missing, as I said before, subtracting the critical damage from Homea 70. Probability try to exceed 150 critical damage, obviously get more, but 70 150 minimum. The recharging equal between 15 and 20, the master's degree must exceed 300 since the weapon already gives you 221 and there. Remember that this gun is going to make you cape in 34,000 of life, then you have to try having... Foreign values do not exceed 34,000, as is the case that you are seeing right now, that you do not know. More than 34,000, and this would be summarized and very simply all the constructions of Hu Tao. Everything that serves Hu Tao, all the variants, and many look in the comments. And if I take him, Ghost Hunter to the Y mini to see Hu Tao on this particular team or on the team with Xian Yun as Exilong in and Exayun make variations in life. Serve if you play a kind of team where the only variation in life is Furina because you play a song, Lee or something. Remember that playing Ghost Hunter in the carries I already explained to you in many live videos, which is a bite that Furina alone without any external source of losing or earning life makes the Hu Tao is the Ghost Hunter, gives you 36 probability because there are 12 times 3 loads that each load lasts 5 seconds. Independently then, it's okay to get the Dream out Sabrio without Hu Tao because it gives him 15 years. More than 36 orders of probability is not bad as long as you carry their 2 best teams. and continues to roof much more an optimal construction with this, or with the shovel of Sino, or with a shovel. Dragon's loss, but it's another alternative that's more like a curiosity is one thing. Very dependent on Furina, and very dependent that besides Furina you play Xylong in or Xianyun, if you play Zhongli, if you play Kazuha, if you play Fisher, if you play the 80,000 combinations of Hu Tao teams that do not have any source other than Furina to lose or earn a living, forget to abuse the Ghost Hunter, because it was an abuse that was done a lot in Fontaine. And it was bad many. You got a bunch of carries at Ghost Hunter because you play them with Furina, and in fact, the worst is that you can no longer play those carries off Furina teams, and there are a lot of characters that will come out in Genshin, a lot of mechanics like those of NATLAN that will not continue with the DD mechanics of losing and earning a living, and they're going to leave your carries useless. That's why it's better. Build the carries and characters in general, as I explained in other videos globally, so that they fit all the equipment so that you can always use them as it evolves. The game over the years is much wiser to do that, and the teams basically like I said before. Best team, the game of Hu Tao, as the one you are seeing, but with Fukon Xianyun, the second best team, what you're seeing with Shironen, and from there and down, there are many combinations that were always used, as for example, the Kasu Tao, that would be Kazuja Xingqi Kazuja pardon Hu Tao Xingqi Yu. Planet Kasuya. It always has to go without Q because it applies more Hydro than Yelan. If you carry Yelan or Furina, it doesn't apply enough Hydro, and Hu Tao doesn't vaporize anything literally. Then you have the Hu Tao double Geo. It's practically not used anymore, but maybe with Shironen because it may not be bad. But it's not good. It's not the best thing in the world either. But well, the Hu Tao double Geo of all life with Albedo Zhongli can play in that case with Yelan and Hu Tao, and the super vaporized Hu Tao, that would be Hu Tao 1 or 2 Hydros. And an additional Electro that allows us to apply Electro charge to enemies, even horrifying. Could to play with Hu Tao. Furina, Yelan, horrified as last character, and Hu Tao makes it vaporized, plus an overload on enemies that have Electro charged applied, and from there a lot. There's a team of Hu Tao double Hydro with the last character being a Yoimiya 4. Cover rotation that team when they came out, Furina Yelan. You could already play double Hydro, not with rotation. 21, but with rotation of 18. Stopped having really good damage by rotation, because already. Which is the difference of rotation with no cube, 21 seconds that would cover you also. Yoimiya, doing good unit damage and vaporizing, i.e. Hu Tao double Hydro Yoimiya existed. It makes a lot of mention of honor, but it's not used much anymore, and little more, I don't think I make a video with everyone. Hu Tao's teams, but if I see that this video has incredible brutal support from another planet by the theme of the bendy draws in the videos of YouTube, maybe I encourage. Make a Hu Tao video equipment that interests you, so let the comments remember. Just by signing up, to give, like, subscribe with bell, and watch how it goes, and Synonym too. Remind you about it and leave a good comment for algorithm that doesn't seem written by. And you have to be, and how I will comment quickly to see if only for that there is already a bendy draw for all the VAP that you see us on YouTube, and thank you so much for that and for allowing me to do this. So remember, do not forget to review the videos to see who has been the winner, because they will be the videos, and comment, subscribe, and bell, give like thank you for all luck and honors a bendy takes care to have a very good day. I'm not mini and Chaito, that you're very well.